Hey, Jesse from MyVeloFit here. Today we're going to be talking about cleat setup. Cleat setup is one of those things that it either goes really well and you never notice it, or you make a mistake and it goes really bad. You either end up in pain or even worse, injured. Cleat setup is the basis of your fit, so it's really important to get it right. Today, we're going to talk about how to set up your cleats right the first time. Welcome to MyVeloFit, the world's first online AI-powered bike fit. Built by bike fitters for all riders. So today we're going to be talking about cleat setup. Cleats are super important when it comes to your bike fit because it's the basis of your bike fit. We often say feet first. That's because your feet are what transfer the power into the pedal. If your cleats aren't set up right, it can put a lot of strain on different areas of the leg. And it's common to get knee injuries with the wrong cleat placement, and it can just mess with the biomechanics of the pedal stroke as well. So we're going to talk you through how to set it up right. Why might you be setting up your cleats? You could be unhappy with your current setup. You could be switching from one pedal system to the other, or you could have old cleats that you're trying to replace, or you could have new shoes that you're transferring the fit over from one to the other. We'll walk you through all those scenarios today and we'll help you get your cleats set up properly. So there's three main types of cleats. The concepts of how to set them up are the same no matter what. But the three types are your 2-bolt cleats, commonly mountain bike style, such as SPD and Crank Brothers. Then we have your 3-bolt, the most common being Look Keo and Shimano SPD SL. And then 4-bolt, that would be your Wahoo Speedplay pedals. So across all of them, the concepts are the same. So we have fore and aft movement, so up and down towards the toe or towards the heel. We have lateral movement, so moving the feet in or out, or placing the cleat under the center of the foot or towards the big toe or little toes. And then we have rotation, so heel in and heel out, we typically call them. We can bring the heel closer to the bike, or we can bring it out away from the bike, bringing the toes in towards the bike. Those are the main concepts that we're gonna look at across all the different shoe types and cleat types. So we've marked the shoe with the 5th and 1st metatarsal, so the base of the big toe and the base of the little toe. The next step is to find the intersect of those. So we're gonna take a ruler and kind of line it up so we've got it along those lines. And then we're gonna take the middle point of that as the place that we're gonna set the cleats. So on the other shoe, we've already got that set up, and we'll align the center line on the cleat to that lineup. And then we'll slightly snug those up. When you're setting the fore aft, I always say you're better to err on the side of cleats back towards the heel than cleats towards the toe. So when in doubt, start further back and then you can move up from there. There's a few reasons for this. One of them, and this one's becoming less of a reason as shoe designers actually pick on where to actually put the mounting bolts. It used to be that it was actually hard to get your cleats far enough back. That's part of it. Having your cleats forward doesn't really add much. So the old adage of first metatarsal, we've really seen a movement away from that. It's biomechanically inefficient. It doesn't really add much. It used to be, even when we were moving more towards the 5th metatarsal, it used to be that they would say, you know, in torque sports such as track sprinting or even some mountain biking disciplines, you would still go with a more forward cleat position. We're kind of moving away from that in general. So that's how we set the fore aft. For the rotation, so the heel in and the heel out, we will use the natural foot angle. So as we'll show you, you'll sit on a surface as it allows you to dangle your legs, and we'll see how your foot naturally wants to align, and we'll roughly align that with the rider. So in this case, we're gonna go just slightly heel in, and that will give you just a little bit of a heel in, which aligns with the rider's foot angle. When you're setting your initial cleat angle, you'll want to mimic the natural angle of your feet. If your heels are more turned in, you would set your cleats with a little bit more heel in. And then if it was the opposite, we'll set your cleats with a little heel out. You'll generally be far less than what we're showing you here. That was just so you can see the difference. This is a very neutral foot angle, so here we would just set the cleats straight. For the lateral, if any of these are kind of a trial and error, I would say the lateral is, I would usually start middle of the foot So we'll line the cleat up just in the middle of the holes is usually just a good starting point. And then we can make minute inside or outside adjustments to align with what the rider needs. Okay, so we talked about setting up cleats from scratch. Now let's talk about if you're replacing existing cleats. So here we have a pair of cleats that is completely worn and we want to replace that. The number one thing to do is not take them off before you've logged the position. There are some fancy tools out there for position logging. What I like to do in this case is just trace it. Take a silver Sharpie, pen, wax pencil, anything you can to trace the outline of the cleat, and that will get you a reference to put the new cleat in the same position. That only works if you're sticking with the same cleat system. So if you're going from a Shimano cleat to another Shimano cleat, that will work fine. If you're transitioning from Shimano SPD SL to Look Keo, we have to take a bit of a different approach. If we're sticking with the same, we can outline the entire shoe like this. If we're moving from a different pedal system, the step is to match the center line of the cleat. And we'll see that on a new pair of cleats. They will have a center line mark, which is right here on those. Every cleat type will have that. We'll put a line on each side of the shoe to match where that is, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we've talked about setting up new cleats on new shoes. We've talked about replacing cleats on existing shoes. Now I want to talk to you about one of the harder and more nuanced aspects of transferring a cleat position from one shoe to the other. So in this situation, you've got shoes that you've been happy with and cleats that you've been happy with, but now for various reasons, you're switching to a new pair of shoes and need to get a comfortable cleat position. Number one, if you can do it, is don't get rid of the old shoes. Don't take the cleats off the old shoes. We're gonna keep these as a reference. Ideally, we'll be able to keep these for a period of time so you can kind of work your way back and forth just to make sure. So number one, if you can, keep the old shoes. The next thing we're gonna do is just eyeball it. We're gonna start off with eyeballing it. So you're gonna visually look, you can measure from the back of the shoe to the center line. If it's the same cleats, you can actually just measure to the back of the cleat on each to make sure that they get relatively close. And then we'll hook the cleat on a solid surface to see that the alignment is the same. So here's a quick little trick to assess the angle of your cleat or to match it either to an existing shoe or to your foot angle. If you find a straight hard surface like this trim or a table or a cupboard, countertop, we can align them. So we can see the shoe on the right is more vertical than the shoe on the left. So if we were matching shoes, we'd want to give this cleat more heel in to match. So we're gonna get them as close as visually possible that way. The hard part here is that many different shoes will have different stack heights and it can be substantial. So different stack height will change this, and then they can have different aspects of the shoe like a drop or a twist. So the shoe can kind of be set up with a bit of a different drop to it. And that's when we just have to look at your fit. So we've got it as close as we can, and then we're going to get you on the bike. We'll take a motion capture and we'll compare how close those two are, and then we can offset for that with bike adjustments. One last really important step when you're setting up your cleats is you never want to do it the morning of, the day before a really big ride. Make small adjustments, give yourself the chance to ride around the block, ride on the trainer for a little bit and make sure. If you're doing it right before a big ride, you just won't have the opportunity to know if it's hurting you before it's too late. So make sure you give yourself time to adjust, go for a little bit of a ride, see how it feels, maybe adjust again. All right, so that's how to set up your cleats. So remember, cleat placement is super important. Feet first, we always want to start with a good cleat placement. We talked through how to transfer cleats from one set of shoes to the other and how to replace existing shoes without losing your cleat placement. We hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. We'll be here to help you out. Don't forget to like and follow us across social media at MyVeloFit, and we look forward to seeing you again.